Okay. Okay, it's very wuthering out today. Wuthering? Yeah. So, I'm Eva Grant, and we're gonna try to do a Wuthering Heights 2026 review. Hopefully it's not too windy. I'm on the moors, or what I think looks like the moors. So let's try to get started. All right, yeah. I'm gonna say it. Wuthering Heights is Lookmaxxing. Okay, that insane wind was not worth the aesthetic. Okay, where were we? Lookmaxxing. If you're not chronically online, Lookmaxxing is this idea that quote unquote good looks can be achieved by any means necessary. And no other chat I think epitomizes this, at least in the last few weeks, than Clavicular. This young internet darling has been breaking his boyish face to create the perfect, at least in his eyes, the perfect masculine one, taking enough testosterone to make Arnold Schwarzenegger blush and apparently kill off any future progeny, as well as climbing the ranks in the not-so-quiet corner of the internet, the manosphere. Clavicular blew up on platforms like Kick, but it was a series of viral clips pulled from his endless live streams by dedicated clippers that propelled him into mainstream notoriety. Audiences rarely sit through his live streams. Instead, they consume bite-sized moments of extremity and absurdity that get reposted everywhere. His big break was a viral tweet in early 2026, right around the Super Bowl time. And this was a confrontation at Arizona State University where Clavicular squared up against a much larger, better built frat leader. The clip exploded with discourse online, like Clavicular ran into ASU frat leader and got brutally frame-mogged, introducing mainstream audiences to Lookmaxxing slang like mogged, meaning dominated in appearance, and frame referring to body structure. This iconic event, amplified by memes and discussions online, blew up and put him even in a New York Times feature where his extreme methods like bone smashing, meth for leanness, usually in Adderall form, and TRT starting as young as 15 were dissected as symbols of a deeper crisis among young men. But we're not talking about that specific crisis today. No, we are talking about Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights, just like Clavicular, was built for internet virality. Those clipped highlights, shocking, shareable, out of context that build the myth and keep audiences hooked. In the Lookmaxxing realm, there's this idea that taking a hammer to the face will change the structure and the bones will grow back stronger and more chiseled. These Lookmaxxing boys are crying Julius Wolff, a 19th century German anatomist and surgeon who claimed in his research, quote, as a consequence of primary shape, variations, and continuous loading, or even due to loading alone, the bone changes its inner architecture. In caveman terms, smash bones. Bones change, come back stronger, prettier, more masculine. Emerald Fennell smashed the bones of the original Wuthering Heights text in order to produce something highly stylized, sexy, pretty, and provocative. When we break the bones, pummel the original to smithereens, is that actually an adaptation? Look, I'm all for adaptations that change and deviate from the original work, or are completely anachronistic. Think about Clueless's retelling of Jane Austen's Emma, 10 Things I Hate About You's version of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and Knight's Tale's reimagining of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. However, these retellings succeed because they still manage to keep the overall themes and or character traits of the original work, while at the same time adding their own spin on the story. They're not pulling out a hammer and smashing bones. They're playing dress up with the original work using costumes and makeup. I'm not here today to talk about the many ways in which this film deviates from the book. I'm here to talk about how creating a work for the sole purpose of virality, bone smashing, is not a way to tell a story or make a movie. In the end, it's neither. It lives online permanently in short snippets and not as a memorable whole. Any scene in Wuthering Heights in isolation could maybe be viewed as an homage to the original work, or any other iconic film. However, when we watch the film as a whole, there's nothing. That, my friends, is not a movie. It's rage bait for the masses online. I'm not an idiot either. The movie was never going to be a direct or even mostly direct adaptation. That was very clear from the press tour and the vehement defense of air quotes around the title. Emerald clearly stated that this was her version of the story that she felt at 14. And that final and honestly, I'm surprised that this final product was created by somebody who loved the novel as much as she said she did. I have no issue with deciding to focus on a passionate romance between Catherine and Heathcliff. I mean, that's what a grown-up 14-year-old would want when we didn't get any of that in the novel. I mean, the novel was all psychological horror, abuse, racism, classism, gender roles, unhealthy and obsessive relations, excessive passions, property and inheritance law, trauma, revenge, gothic horror, and hauntings, always lurking with whispers of maybe something that can be construed as a romance. Enter the hammer. A little tap here and there, everywhere will make it better. So much more beautiful than Bronte could have ever imagined. No. The smashing ended up leaving something so void of tangible content that viewers end up struggling to find a clearly defined theme or message. The whole thing would be stronger and more movie-like and less TikTok feed if she just picked a theme and stuck with it. It's a complicated story as is, and when we decide to erase most of the book for our air-quoted adaptation, we need to give the audience more than just sexy vibes. Like, is this a movie about control? Great. That's a major theme in the book. Like, stick with it, clearly show how each of these characters are controlling each other in a nearly Machiavellian way. Is it about arousal surrounding death? Well, the film certainly starts out that way, so I guess weave more of that in there. Is it a romance exploring a relationship basically unseen in the novel? Well, obviously that's what teenage and grown-up Emeralds want. Well, then we need to build something with actual and not artificial tension and show why these two are ill-fated like Romeo and Juliet. It's like she had all the starts of a decent movie and refused to explore anything, forcing the audience to fill in the blanks for all aspects of the story. Taking a bone-smashing hammer to a story or a face serves one purpose, and that's to make something ideal for the internet. This movie, more than most, feels like it was perfectly curated for a scrolling feed. Pretty costumes, actors, music, sets, all together has to be the definition of a great film, right? Instead, it's the very definition of style over substance. And there you have it. The greatest love story ever told is no more a movie than Clavicular is a plastic surgeon. It's at most a series of viral moments built to live forever, or at least for the next few weeks, through endless scrolling. If you stuck around this far, thank you for watching. I'm a brand new channel, so if you like what you saw, hit the like button and subscribe, and stay tuned for more commentary. Later.